Let's pop the LaCroix. What is going on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope you're all enjoying your day today. Let's just dive into our daily cryptocurrency update and analytics today. We're going to be talking about where the altcoin market is headed over the next couple of months into June of 2018. And first, we're going to start with a Bitcoin technical analysis, being the fact that Bitcoin has a huge influence in this market. However, we're going to be talking about the shift in dominance that we're seeing from Bitcoin to altcoins and how that can affect the marketplace over the long term. So let's first and foremost dive into what we're seeing here with Bitcoin. Looking at the technical analysis that we drew out of this rounding bottom that's forming here, we're actually still above this 50-day moving average, which is extremely bullish. And in my opinion, that's one good sign that Bitcoin is still on its way up, and we're just seeing a slight consolidation of price levels that we were previously seeing at these higher highs. And what's most important to understand is the overall fundamental market sentiment right now is extremely bullish. And the reason I say that is I have a couple articles pulled up here, and I want to talk about some of them. First of all, Florida County tax collector becomes first government agency to accept Bitcoin. And the reason this is important is we've talked about mass adoption in the past and how it's necessary for mass adoption to occur in order for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to become something of the masses and for it to exceed a $1 trillion market cap. And you can see here, the use of the blockchain enables the tax collector to remove fees, at the same time improving payment accuracy, efficiency, and transparency. And this is an actual government official saying here, the aim of my tenure is to bring government services from the 18th century into the 21st century. So in my opinion, that's an extremely bullish sign for Bitcoin, at least leading into mass adoption. Keenan Tarander says, my audio is only mono. I do apologize if it's only mono. We are just now testing our new audio system, but I can actually see if I can adjust that and turn it into not just mono. Let me see if I can adjust that here. I don't want to do it on the stream. It's probably going to take too long. So hopefully the left speaker is good enough for now. I do apologize if it is playing in mono. If somebody knows how to fix that, I would appreciate. We just got this new mic and I'm plugging it into a Focusrite. So if somebody knows how to fix that, then that could help. But regardless though, let's dive into this next article here. Cryptocurrency to exceed a $1 trillion market cap as Coinbase lures in institutional investors. I like the title of this article because it implies that as institutional investors come into this market, it is going to result in a $1 trillion plus market cap for the market. And I totally agree with that. You can see here, we are excited to help institutions everywhere participate in this emerging asset class. And not only are they building the tools necessary for institutions to come in, but Goldman Sachs recently opens up Bitcoin to institutional investors, being one of the first firms to do this. You can see following a slew of inquiries from hedge funds, foundations, and endowments benefiting from Bitcoin millionaires, they went ahead and made the decision to open up this way for individuals to bet for and against Bitcoin, which is a huge step forward. And the cool thing about this article, in my opinion, is the inquiries from hedge funds, foundations, and endowments. This right here is where the money's going to come from. Everybody has to realize the real money right now is in these funds, hedge funds, these funds of funds, and that is what's going to take this market cap to the next level. So just to dive back into this Bitcoin technical analysis right now, what we're watching for is this 50-day moving average. Once again, we are still above 40 in regards to RSI. Until we cross below 40, would I have any hesitation in regards to us seeing any lower price levels? At this point, as long as we're above 40, I still expect this bull run to continue over the next few days following the consensus conference. And the reason we're seeing the altcoin market seeing a slight dip over the past couple of weeks is because of the amount of dominance it's gained over the past 3 weeks. You can see here, we went from an altcoin dominant market of 18% all the way up to all-time highs at 26.35%, and this is in such a short period of time. And in my opinion, it is due for a slight correction, and that's what we're seeing right now. And if we were to even pull this up as a technical analysis, we could even graph this. You can see we have an ascending support line here, which implies that altcoin dominance in as a whole is increasing, but obviously it's not just going to always go up like anything, it goes up and down. So I think that's what we're seeing right now with altcoin markets, and it's something to pay attention to. And I think this is a graph that people underutilize, and it should be utilized more often because you can know when to hedge against altcoins with Bitcoin. And it's not something that we could have really predicted until now. Obviously, now that we see the dominance is starting to shift back, but Bitcoin isn't really gaining dominance. It's staying horizontal while altcoins are declining just a little bit as a short-term pullback, just to be healthy so that it could go ahead and see higher highs. Because understand, this market's very different than where it was several months ago, where you couldn't really bet against Bitcoin. There weren't as many people leveraging and margin trading, shorting Bitcoin, but now people are betting for and against it. So it's not just going to be a beautiful ride up like we saw in December. It's going to be a ride like traditional markets where it goes up and down. As we all know, market cycles pretty much go like this. So that's pretty much what we're going to be seeing for this market over the next 6 to 12 months, in my opinion. And what's cool about that is it allows the market to gain really confident support and resistance levels so that we don't see any crazy corrections like we saw in December until we have another period of exuberance, which would come from speculative trading. So shout out to Andy Guerrero, just did a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Any questions from the audience? Let's take some questions. Hopefully we can address some questions. Lex says, no sound, one of the speakers. Yeah, I'm not going to fix that during the stream, but we're testing our new mic, so we're trying our best here. And Mr. Confused says, the Shotgun Pro. If you guys watched our last live stream, we had to shotgun a LaCroix because we hit 200 likes. So what's the challenge this time? That's the real question. Andy says, what are your thoughts on XMR Monero? Good time to buy. What is your analysis? Love your channel. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you being here. I love Monero. Monero, in my opinion, is a project that is undervalued right now. You can see it hasn't really seen much exuberance over the past few weeks. Actually going back in regards to its ranking, being taken over by Dash recently, and this was ahead of Dash for quite some time, but now Monero is behind Dash. So I think Monero, being that it's 7% down over the past 7 days, and this is regards to USD value, I think that it does have that potential to start heading back into that top 11 or 12 ranking spot, because Dash, in my opinion, is a project that still has a lot more development to go in regards to a legacy coin like Monero that has been around for so long. And Dash has been around for some time as well, but Monero is one of those legacy coins that really has gained its dominance in the privacy sector of cryptocurrencies. So somebody says, what's up with TRX? Everybody always talks about TRX, Tron number 10 right now of market cap, being pretty brutally hit with this altcoin retracement at 16% down over the past 7 days. I think that's also another opportunity that we could watch for. A lot of these altcoins are opportunities, in my opinion. If you remember when the market saw exuberance over the past 4 weeks, and you wish that you were in these altcoins, now's the time to get in these coins while it's red, because everything that comes after red is green, right? And it's typically how the market cycles itself, green to red and red to green. So you want to keep that in mind when making your positions at this point. Somebody says, this is a good time to buy XLM. I'd want to do a technical analysis if we're going to be asking these type of questions. Let's do an XLM technical analysis, because we haven't looked at Stellar in some time here. I know we had this rounding bottom forming here as well. Let's see where this candle is at. We bounced off of that 50-day moving average, which is extremely bullish as well. So knowing that we bounced off this moving average, I think that this rounding bottom is still in play here for Stellar, and I would just wait for this handle to confirm a breakout above the 4,415 Satoshi mark, which obviously was a resistance level here and was a resistance level for the previous rounding bottom that occurred here where we broke out. So in my opinion, we're still in a very bullish state for XLM, knowing we bounced off that 50-day moving average. Unlike some other coins like ETH, for example, let's see, are we above the 50-day? Yeah, completely above that. TRX BTC above the 50-day, about to retrace down to the 50-day. I'd see TRX going back down towards the 50-day, possibly hitting like Satoshi levels of around 690 before going any higher, because of the fact that it saw all this exuberance building up towards the hype of the mainnet launch. And that's what I would predict for Tron. Somebody says, why have we seen such a huge jump in CMT token from 5 miles? I'm not sure much. I'm not sure about that token. Sorry. Aditya says quick T on EOS. Let's check out EOS really quick and see what's happening with EOS. Also retracing back down. I would say wait for it to hit that 50-day moving average, and that would also allow this RSI to head all the way back down to 40 and see a bounce potentially. If it breaks 40, allow that RSI to go to oversold levels. That's what I would say with EOS if you want to get a strong position. But remember, anything that you can dollar cost average from 40 down to 30 would be a good entry point for any coin, especially on the one-day chart where the RSI plays a huge factor. But we saw all of this exuberance, and now we're seeing people take some profit. So this is obviously going to lead to a little bit of this, but I think that's how that's going to play out. And I think we'll form a cup. And the goal is for this cup right here to form itself and for us to get our position at the best possible point of a cup forming, which would be at the bottom base of the cup, because these are the best price levels if a cup were to form. So wait for this cup to start forming. I think EOS in the past has done many fractal patterns, so I would definitely consider that something that could occur. Boris says EOS is tanked. Well, not really. If you really think about all the exuberance we saw over the past few weeks, I mean, we're still at these higher levels. As long as we can correct down to that 50-day moving average and bounce, there's nothing wrong with EOS. Matthew says, can you explain what happened with ZEC coin? Zcash? Are you talking about Zcash? Zcash was announced to be listed on Gemini, which is one of the most popular and most efficient exchanges out there. That's why Zcash went up so high. So if you guys don't know what Gemini is, it's actually one of the only exchanges apart from Coinbase that offer insurance for their users. You know, it's a US-based exchange. And not only that, Gemini also has an institutional investing platform, a lot like what Coinbase Prime, which was just released, I think, announced today, is building as well. So Gemini being such a prominent exchange, listing a coin like Zcash allowed it to have this amount of exuberance. And I wouldn't be surprised for Zcash to go even higher than where it's at right now, because we were or under the 50-day moving average before that announcement. You can see that allowed us to go above that 50-day moving average, bounce all the way on top, and we know that these further highs are still possible, knowing that Zcash has seen price levels in regards to Satoshi value all the way up to those 5.5 million range, where right now we're sitting right around 4 million in Satoshi. So I would say that we can definitely see Zcash go up to that 5 million Satoshi mark once again, and it wouldn't be a surprise to me. So Vaclav says, Naeem, would be great to see you at Block Show Europe 2018, Berlin, Germany. Send me the invite, man, and we'll get up there. Somebody says, hey, bro, thanks for all the valuable content. You're very welcome, Tony Corona. Lawrence Brewer says, what coins have popped up on your radar since their presentation at Consensus? I think one of the biggest coins that have popped up recently is ICX, Icon, and I'm really expecting some exuberant price levels for Icon very soon. You can see we're forming this beautiful pennant shape here. I'm going to go into the 1 hour chart and draw this out for you, but you can see we've got these ascending support levels forming here, and then you've got this retracing or this declining resistance level. And in my opinion, this is going to break out of that 50-day moving average fairly soon, a lot like a lot of these coins have done in the past. If we go to this one-day chart, we are right above that 50-day moving average, and we're not going down towards it anymore. So in my opinion, we're probably going to most likely see this head to these higher highs, passing where it previously went, what was it, 5190 Satoshis, and we're currently sitting at 4600 Satoshis. I think we can easily surpass the 50,000 Satoshi mark fairly soon, and then probably even head into the 60,000 Satoshi mark. You can see in the past, Icon has seen these higher price levels, and this was after that whole December rally where it also found strength for quite some time while a lot of these coins were declining, but then obviously it eventually withered itself away, went below that 50-day, and now in my opinion, we're most likely going to see a breakout fairly soon for Icon, especially after Consensus, with it getting so much attention. RB says, my first live stream. Thank you for being so generous. I'm pretty sure I've seen you in a live stream before, RB, but good to have you, brother. Somebody just says, I got the book from the free giveaway. Thanks. You're very welcome, Rumbar. Faisal says, so Naeem, this year will be no big mountains like the previous years. No, well, what's going to happen is when you see exuberance in this market, it's not just going to go like this like we've seen in the past. In my opinion, knowing that you have the ability to short Bitcoin. See, before, you have to understand, people weren't really betting against Bitcoin in December. Therefore, because they weren't betting against it, then you can only really bet for it. And that's why we saw this amount of exuberance. But in order for us to see these higher price levels, it's not just going to be all sunshine and rainbows like it was in December. We're most likely going to see price levels circulate up and down like traditional markets go, right? Up and down. And it's going to be a little bit more of a gradual swing up. And one good idea or example of this would be the traditional markets back in 2000. If you pull up the NASDAQ, for example, you can see what occurred back then with these traditional markets when we had the previous bubble, which we could really compare to this bubble. But if you pull up this 1 week chart, you can see how we had that exuberance, but following that exuberance, once we were back down at these more reasonable price levels, the price levels did start to increase, but they increased in a way that was very different than how they initially did, right? They went up and down, sitting right along a moving average, and it was a little bit more of a consistent run up. I'm not expecting it to take this long because our market's extremely fast in comparison to traditional markets, but at the end of the day, you have to understand people are betting against Bitcoin, and it's not just going to be sunshine and rainbows on the way up. However, there's still a lot of liquidity to come into this market. Therefore, we do expect a large amount of higher price levels over the next couple of months, especially following consensus. Once again, we've seen with the majority of markets, anything, following consensus has led to a run up in the market. So to pull back this chart here for you so you can have an idea of what we're seeing here, I expect it to go like this more than anything, but I still expect all-time highs coming into July of 2018 for Bitcoin and the majority of the altcoin market as more investors get accustomed to utilizing exchanges like Binance, for example, where they can trade altcoins, whereas in the past, most people were trading Bitcoin. So Silver Fox says, love your videos times 100. Encash, please. I don't mind doing Encash. I know a lot of people have had trades in Encash recently. What I like about this chart is we're under the 50-day moving average. One thing I like to do as an investor and as a trader is if there's a 50-day moving average in the chart and we're under it, in my opinion, you can buy the breakout along these 50-day moving averages, because if you've seen it in the past, anytime we've went above the 50-day moving average, it's typically bounced to higher levels. So if I wanted to play Encash, for example, I would literally just play it against that 50-day moving average, wait for it to go above that, and then that bounce right there can lead to these higher price levels. And that's also a confirmation of a breakout. So it allows you to keep the majority of your funds and capital invested in whatever other investments you have until the breakout is confirmed. And that's why it's all about timing, right? Timing is everything. And something my mentor taught me before, he's like, opportunities will come your way, but it's all about the timing of in which you accept those opportunities. And it's the same thing in this market. You have to accept these opportunities as they come to you. And for example, this opportunity isn't there yet. However, as soon as it's above that 50-day moving average, the opportunity has triggered itself. And for example, what you'll see happen is, like, if you look at Tron, as soon as it went above that 50-day moving average, look what ended up happening. So you were just risking not getting in while it was under the 50-day moving average because you knew it was most likely going to see retracement. But as soon as it popped over, if you got in, you would have been able to take advantage of that huge amount of exuberance. So that's kind of an example of how that mindset will play out over the long term if you were to play that correctly. And that's why I'm so bullish about Bitcoin as long as it's above that 50-day moving average, because as we stay above that 50-day moving average, it's still in a very bullish path. So hopefully that helps up a little bit. AKA50 says, smash the like button for Naeem. Appreciate the support there. We got a super chat here from Tanner Lawley. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you, Andy, once again. And he wants to do CMT BTC. Let's check out Cybermiles and see what we're seeing here. Wow. So way too much of an exuberance, in my opinion, to initiate a position at this point, especially after we already saw the take profits occur. What I do like about this chart is this second breakout did go past the initial breakout, anytime you see this amount of exuberance and you see that we've also broken resistance after profits have been taken, that's a very bullish response. So I wouldn't say that we're not going to see higher price levels for CMT, but I think it's more going to be based upon fundamentals and technicals in this case, just because of what I'm seeing in this chart being so far away from the 50-day moving average. It's only going to be a matter of time until we hit some higher highs and then start retracing back down to that 50-day. So I think the majority of profits that could have been made with a chart like this have already been made. And that's what I would say for a coin like that. So hopefully that helps you out, Tanner. I would say that you have a better chance of waiting for a coin like ICX, for example, to go above that 50-day moving average to then play that for the exuberance that is to come. Or I'm sorry, Ncash. Let's pull up Ncash. Being under the, I think this shows more opportunity than that, because see, you want to take advantage of the price levels here before it sees that. And that's really the goal with these altcoins, especially the ones that tend to go up and down based upon market sentiment. So hopefully that helps in some way, shape, or form. Somebody says VEN creating a lot of disturbance. Yes. Leonardo Sosa says, what do you think about Neo? I think Neo is extremely undervalued right now, especially with all of their partnerships with different companies and governments. I actually talked about Neo in our last video, I believe, and I went into depth about why I'm very bullish on Neo and why I think it being under a top 10 coin right now is just completely ridiculous, and it should be a top 10 coin fairly soon. Being that it's 11 right now, I think it should be, you know, if not 9 or 8 sometime soon, knowing all of the infrastructure, all of the intrinsic value that it currently holds. I think Neo is a great project. So, you know, it's good that you guys, I feel like a lot of you are on the right mindset right now, which is knowing which coins you want to get in at while the market is red. Because remember, you always want to buy in the red and sell in the green. That's always been a saying and a tip that I've given to traders. And I think it's helped a lot of people in the past, and I think it'll help you now if you keep that mindset. So thank you for the super chat. Pranjal Pandi says, internet node token for long term till December 2018. Were you just giving a shout out to your coin, I guess? Somebody says XLM. I think we already did a quick analysis for XLM. Elu says XRP can hit $2. So XRP has recently had a lot of awesome news. They've had a ton of partnerships recently, and what's cool is we're under and right at that 50-day moving average. So if you're looking for another potential opportunity over the next couple of weeks, I think XRP could be that coin. You can see here, we already saw exuberance. We saw that reconciliation. We saw retrace all the way back down to that 50-day. And like we just talked about, that 50-day moving average is a good place to play your swings, and knowing that XRP is right below that 50-day, as long as we can wait for that breakout confirmation above the 50-day, I think it could be a good play sometime soon. So hopefully you are all watching some of these coins that we're talking about and can keep yourself up to date with these coins. Somebody says, will you take your shirt off for 400 likes? I will do that. If we hit 400 likes, I will take my shirt off. What are we at right now? I got it. Oh my gosh. I always accept the bets before checking what our viewers are at, because I need to always know. Oh, snap. We already have 400 plus viewers, and I already took the bet. But whatever. I'll take it. What are the likes at? Let me check. Oh my gosh. You guys always, it's because of my impulse. I have we're already past 100 likes. It just started soaring through. You guys really want me to take my shirt off, don't you? And it just keeps going up. You guys are insane. Okay. Ridiculous. Boris says he has a 6-pack. Jose Saldana says, I don't want to see that, LOL. I don't want to show it, man. What do you think about INT for December 2018? I haven't looked into INT as a long-term hold. So, you know, in order to initiate a prediction for that amount of a time frame, I would say that as long as it has intrinsic value as a coin, then there's that potential that it could see higher price levels as more liquidity flows throughout the altcoin market. Because I think regardless of where you put your money, if you have your money in the altcoin market over the next couple of weeks or months, maybe a couple of months before we start to really see institutions dive into this market, I think regardless, you'll benefit financially if you have your money in a coin that has intrinsic value. That's the key, because when investors come to this market, especially institutional investors and even hedge funds, for example, if you don't know how a hedge fund works, so hedge funds are going to bring a lot of liquidity to this market. And understand, with a hedge fund, they're looking for projects that have potential in the next 5 to 10 years, if not the next 2 to 3 years. And they also look for projects that have very dynamic, distinguished properties to them that can't really be replicated by other projects. So I'll give you an example, like Ethereum and EOS, for example. It's the best example of two investments that are most likely going to be made by these hedge funds once more liquidity flows into this market. And there's a reason for that. Ethereum has a ton of use case, and EOS is a competitor to Ethereum, right? In the fact that you can build applications on EOS the same way you can build applications on Ethereum, which is where their intrinsic value comes from. But EOS is centralized on 21 nodes, while Ethereum is distributed amongst thousands of nodes. And what's interesting about that concept is, yes, there are other blockchain decentralized application platforms that are like EOS and Ethereum, but the difference between EOS and Ethereum is the fact that Ethereum and EOS will never be the same. And because of that distinguishment, if that's even a word, these institutions and these hedge funds see it as a good investment because they're two polar opposites. So whether or not more applications are built on EOS or Ethereum, as long as they diversify, because another trick to hedge funds is the diversification aspect. They diversify a lot, right? Because diversification, hedge funds are almost like, I like how Brock Pierce puts it. He's like, if you're in traditional markets right now, you're raising funds through VCs and angel investors and, and just traditional fundraising methods apart from ICOs, then you're really just looking for a unicorn, right? It's like you just want to put your money in a lot of different places and just hope one of them blows up and becomes the next Facebook or Uber. But the way Brock Pierce puts it is there's a lot of these unicorns running out in traditional markets and traditional, investments, and they're all flocking towards this new way of raising capital, which is ICOs and initial coin offerings. And because of that, more of the unicorns are going to be found in these projects. So the goal is to just find the unicorn projects within the marketplace. And there's a lot of different resources that you can utilize to do that. One of those resources would be our Discord, not to just promote Discord here, but it's truly one of the most efficient resources that we have available to all of you guys for free. So I highly recommend you guys get on our Discord and check it out. I mean, we've got tons of different places here for you to research and get information from. We actually just posted recently this premium education chat here, the psychology of 80% of the game. I would highly recommend reading this because the majority of trading is psychological, right? Like tip number 5, fight greed by reducing position size. Maybe some of you don't know that that type of stuff. So highly recommend going on our Discord. It's a free resource in the description. But anyways, yes, hopefully that sheds some light. Sorry for rambling. I just go off topic sometimes. Brett says Discord is awesome. Hastings Lewis says, what's with the suit? Going to court? No, I just like wearing suits because I trade better when I have suits on. I don't know. It's something that really comes from the subconscious. My mentor taught me, he's like, if you want to, trade well, you have to look well and feel well. Feel like New York, I wouldn't want to say that because those guys are typically depressed, the ones in traditional financial markets. I think it's like one of the highest suicide rates. But as a trader, right, an independent freelance trader, you want to feel empowered and you want to feel like you're the CEO when you're trading. And it's just a subconscious aspect of it. Remember, trading is the majority psychology. It's not necessarily strategy. So AZ Azad says, Helena, in your opinion, what kind of cryptocurrency will have mass adoption in the future? Well, going back to our Discord, we also posted this fundamental analysis. Actually, it was under long-term projects. We posted this file here. We're actually posting another report today, which will be up soon. We had a little bit of a delay on that. But I would say the best projects right now, obviously, are the ones that have the majority of projects, which would be these smart contracts and dApps, and then obviously the currencies, the digital cash. But I think we've already established market dominance with the majority of these. And I think the next few applications that are really going to see the majority of the mass adoption are not the ones like blockchain as a service or entertainment or gaming. And the reason I say that is because I think those still need a little bit more time to mature. And I'll give you a good example. Like YouTube, for example, couldn't really have been created or what it is today back in 2000 when internet speeds were still using dial-up, right? But as the technology matured and progressed and became faster, we were able to utilize applications like YouTube. So I think that as the blockchain gets more and more efficient and we become more familiar with the actual components of the blockchain and what makes it what it is, I think that's when we'll start to see more use case in these other type of industries like entertainment, gaming, sports, music, events, and things of that nature. Would you guys agree with me or not? I mean, that's just an opinion for, that I have. I think the majority of use cases is going to come from the actual infrastructure building projects that will eventually lead to these other projects being used, like the smart contracts and dApps. I also think data is eventually going to become something big, but I think data is also going to be a little bit of a ways ahead of ourselves, because I think we still need the blockchain to mature. I think privacy is something that people are starting to realize they want more of. I think that's also going to become more of a bigger industry. And then surprisingly, artificial intelligence. I think that as artificial intelligence develops in itself, combining that with the blockchain, there's also going to be projects that are going to become prominent soon in that regard. So hopefully that helps. Somebody says, definitely agree. Awesome. I'm glad you do. Hopefully that made some sense. Somebody says, do you like BTS right now? BitShares, I think she is ready to blow. Let's check BTS. Is she ready to blow? Let's see if BTS is ready to blow. Just like this individual says, is it ready to blow? Okay, well, to be honest with you, it does look pretty ready to blow. Wow. This is a really nice trade. I like this. Oh my gosh. You've got a beautiful cup and handle for me here. Check this out. I would even consider this right here the start to the cup and handle. You see the cup form. Wow. Handle bounced right off the 50-day. If you see another exuberant, let's insert volume. Let's check the volume out here. See what we're looking at. I'm looking for less volume, not more volume. Yes, perfect. So we've got a little bit of that negative divergence occurring with the volume. I think that if we start to see higher volume levels here, we're soon going to see a breakout here for BitShares. The reason I say that is it's forming a beautiful cup here. We already hit resistance level. We formed the handle, and the handle also bounced off of that 50-day moving average. So I think this would be a really good play here. Knowing the 50-day moving average is an obvious support level, and remember we talked about the 50-day moving average being a good play, I think that a position in BitShares right now wouldn't be too bad of an option, knowing that we're also down, if you can see here, at these known support levels right down here. Look at that. We found support here in the past, right here, right? So knowing that we're down at these levels and we're back down, look what happened last time. It bounced and saw all of this exuberance at those price levels. And not only that, we're at that 50-day moving average. So you can even almost see how market cycles work using this 50-day moving average. Look at that. It's kind of like a depiction of how market cycles work. So I think this will eventually go up, taking this price up with it. So great call there. Hopefully that was taken from y'all. Jeff Smith says, you the man, buddy. Thanks for this channel. Thank you for the awesome compliment. Thank you, AKA50, for the super chat. It says Trig price analysis, please. Thank you, AKA50. Let's check Trig price analysis here. Trig price analysis. Are we at 400 likes yet? Do I have to take my shirt off? What are we at right now? Okay, good. We're nowhere. Actually, oh, wow. We're at over 200. So we are close. Oh, my gosh. You guys are ridiculous. Gosh, man, if I end up having to take my shirt off at the end of this live stream, it's not going to be fun. I'm not just going to end it like I almost did the last time around when we did the shotgun, but I'm just hoping we don't hit 400. What are we at right now? 221? Oh, my gosh. All right. This is more pressure for me. Let's do a Trig analysis here. Under the 50-day moving average, we saw this huge retracement. That's a good sign, obviously, if we're looking for a potential opportunity. Looks like we're also bouncing off that 40 RSI. So this is hopefully what we'll see with Bitcoin. We'll see it bounce like that and continue to bounce. And we're seeing something similar to what Bitcoin is seeing with a slight retracement here with this RSI. What I would say in regards to this play is it's pretty easy. Just wait for this to confirm its breakout with that 50-day moving average, because anything under the 50-day moving average, as you can see, as soon as it goes under, it just continues to go down. But if it goes above it, it's a sign that something is becoming bullish. So you can see as soon as we went above that, what happened? Well, we saw all of that exuberance following that 50-day moving average. So, sorry, this thing is not even working now. But yes, so you see what happened here after that 50-day moving average crossed over. So hopefully we can get out of this chart and fix this indicator issue. Perfect. Awesome. Somebody says, how about ZC? I think we did that. Jizzle says, LOL, those likes getting nuked for the dips. Oh my gosh. What are we at right now? I mean, we're about to wrap this baby up, so hopefully... Okay. We're right under 300. This is not going to be fun. Mike Serisano says Nano. Let's take a look at Nano. I know we were looking at Nano previously. Still under the 50-day moving average. So once again, I would play this similar to the 50-day. This is a little bit of a different scenario though, because if you see with Nano, we're approaching an accumulation zone. And what an accumulation zone is this zone right over here. So this whole area is an accumulation zone in which every time the price levels have hit these levels, you can see they've seen exuberance. So knowing that pattern that's formed in the past, you can also determine that in the future, it's most likely to form a similar pattern, right? It went above, went back down to the accumulation zone, went back up, went back down to the accumulation zone, went back up. So I would set up a take profit around these levels here, knowing that these levels are most likely going to be hit, and that would be your first target, right? If you were swing trading this, target 1, target 2, target 3, a little bit higher with a higher threshold. So that's how I would play Nano, for example, if you were to go ahead and go into this trade. So just keep it simple. That's the point here. So hopefully this live stream has helped out. I don't want to go too long, but thank you all for tuning in. I will see some of you on our Discord. We're here 24/7. It's a free resource. Highly recommend each and every one of you get on our Discord. We've got a ton of awesome places here. And check this out. If you go to view charts, I'll show you a little nugget, and you type in !C and then the ticker symbol of any coin, like Sabio Khan just said PO on the chat. I'll just type in PO. We actually have an automated bot that will map out the most important indicators for that chart so you can do a quick analysis. So as soon as you type that in, what's going to pop up is the chart itself, and that chart is going to have the RSI, the MACD, and the moving averages pulled up so you can see what's happening with that chart. And I think you have to do it in lowercase in order for this command to work properly. Or I don't think this account will... There you go. Bam. So it pulls up right away. Check that out. A little tip. And let's see. Do I have to take my shirt off? Are we at 400? Let's see here. 241. Thank God. Awesome. Amen. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. And until our next live stream, hopefully you guys benefited. Christ said, you're cheating, bro. You're quitting before we hit the likes. No, I'm not. This is a 37-minute live stream. These typically go for 25 minutes. So I actually gave you a little bit more than usual because I got this new awesome mic. But I'm going to fix this mic being mono and change it to not mono. And if somebody knows how, please message me at SniperStube on Twitter. Maybe that'll help out. But yes, thank you all for tuning in. I love you all. Until our next one. I'm also recording my course over the next 4 days. We're doing an awesome partnership with another crypto millionaire. I'm not going to give you guys too much information, but he's doing a course, and then I'm going to be doing all the TA aspects of the course, and I'll announce that soon. It's going to be awesome. But I'm going to be recording that for the next 4 days in the studio. So we'll talk more about that soon. Love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. And let's do the disclaimer here on the bottom. And then the little hit the like button, snipers. And then with that being said, snipers out.